you going to close the beaches?
Yes, we are.
We're also planning to bring in some experts from the Oceanographic Institute on the mainland.
Only 24 hours.
I didn't agree to that.
Only 24 hours.
You all know me, know how I earn a living. I'll catch this bird for you, but it ain't gonna be easy. It's bad fish. Not like going down the pond chasing bluegills or tommycots. This shark, swallow you whole. Shaking, tenderizing, down you go. And we gotta do it quick. That'll bring back the tourists. That'll put all your businesses on a paying basis. But it's not gonna be pleasant. I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief. I'll find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10. And you gotta make up your minds. You wanna stay alive and ante up? You wanna play it cheap? Be on welfare the whole winter. I don't want no volunteers. I don't want no mates. There's too many captains on this island. $10,000 for me by myself. For that, you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Quint. We'll take it under advisement.
Mr. Mayor, Chief, ladies and gentlemen.
JAWGUST. JAWGUST.
JAWGUST is back once again. Jaws is 50, so I thought, my friends, for you to come with me as I go back to Amity. A 31-day podcast, talking 4 minutes of Jaws each day. It will be another month-long show for me, and I hope to see you there, 'cause JAWGUST is back again.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. It's Wednesday, August 6th. The 6th day of August, the 6th day of Golden August. It's 10 p.m. Have you refreshed your Spotify yet? Folks, it's actually 10 p.m. as I'm recording this, so you're probably going to get this closer to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the United States of America. But there's a reason. there is a reason why I didn't get to the show until later. I woke up very early this morning and I thought maybe I should. Actually, my dog. No, I woke up at 4:45, but my dog hadn't moved. So sometimes you get to a certain age where you have to wake up and you have to do something, so you go do that. And then I lie back down, but on the couch, so my dog would see me like, hey, we're in this together, you and I. Let's just kind of chill. I'm going to close my eyes, and hopefully, like, she didn't move. She didn't move. Another hour went by. I got an extra hour of sleep, which was wonderful. And then I thought, I want to keep relaxing. I thought about getting up and doing JAWGUST very early this morning. I said, I don't want to rush it. I want to take my time. And that's why I decided to do it this evening. Now, why this late? Because last week, my nephew turned 13. And as part of his gift, or actually as his gift, we took him out. These kids are at a certain age now where it's like, hey, and my mother actually started this, where I saw she was taking out my niece, taking out my nephew. And so we started taking out my niece, still started just getting regular gifts for my nephew, but now he's a little older, take them out to dinner and then take them shopping. For my niece, we went to Hibachi. One year we went to the mall. One year we went to Barnes & Noble. This year I think we're going back to the mall. For my nephew this year, he wanted to go to Panera. He loves Panera. I didn't have the heart to tell him that the last time I went, I got sick. And it wasn't the first time I got sick from Panera chicken, but it is the last time, because I just said, okay, cool. And my wife said, don't get the chicken. I was like, don't. I don't want to spook this kid out. He loves Panera. He gets this soup. Okay, soup, great, wonderful. I got a steak sandwich, and it was delightful. We went to the mall, and I came really close to buying a Superman hat. There was a Jaws thing that I almost bought, but I thought it was a Jaws figurine. It wasn't. It was like a clip to clip your figurine to. I said, that's silly. I'm an adult. So instead I bought a Patriots hat, but I got my nephew, we got him some cool Vans, some sneakers, and an Allen Iverson shirt. Kid's only 13. He loves AI. Hey, cool. Brought him home, took my dog for a walk, and here I am now talking to you about Jaws. Okay, I also admit that I wanted to watch the end of the Red Sox game to see if they'd come back. They're on a big, long winning streak. They lost tonight. But I wanted to see a few at-bats. And I saw some bats, and the at-bats weren't that good. And speaking of bats, I got a text earlier today from my Fine Movies, Fine Spirits co-host that said, and it was just forwarded. It wasn't from, because I read this text, I read a comment. I read it here on the show. I sent it to my co-host, and he thought, oh, that's AI that created that. And not the Allen Iverson AI. And, we laughed. I cried a little bit because I was like, no, it's an actual listener. And then he got a text that he forwarded to me that says, tell Mikey, I'm Amber Brown Dog. Amber Brown Dog, the person who left the comment, the wonderful comment that I went around showing anyone who would read it last week or earlier, a few days ago. He says he was trying to leave me another comment, and it said it only posted half, but I got it all. I got another comment from Amber Brown Dog. And Mr. Bats, thank you very much. Why don't we read it? Why don't we go in and read that comment right now? This one, it might have topped the last one. How to tell that you're a Geek Mentality superfan. First of all, I didn't know there was such a thing. And if there's a fan club, there is now, he's the president. Number 4, the Golden Girls theme song plays in your head all day with different lyrics. Well, if you like sitcom songs with different lyrics, you're in the right place. That's all I'm going to say right now. Number 3, you find yourself on Alex Kittner's website thinking that a $35 for a signed picture is a good deal. Yes, remember, what is it? TheDeadAlexKintner.com. I mean, just the most morbid URL you could have. Number 2, Mikey's co-host of Fine Movies, Fine Spirits, text you on August 2nd, inform you that JAWGUST is back, and you've already listened to an episode. That's Chris, again, former future guest of Geek Mentality. He will be back on JAWGUST. And, of course, you can always find him at Fine Movies, Fine Spirits over at fansnotexperts.com. And number 1, when Mikey hasn't posted an episode at 10 p.m., you refresh Spotify repeatedly, hoping nothing happened to him. Nothing's happened yet. I'm here in front of my computer right now. It's 10 past 10. Again, it's gonna take a little while for me to get the show out to you, Mike, but it is coming. Thank you very much for another awesome comment. And I love that these get posted to the Spotify listing. So if you're listening on Spotify, this is how you would actually see these comments. And you could comment too. Anyone can comment. Yes, even you. So I need to write a little reply to this. Another thank you. But I wanted to mention it here on the show before we get into the next 4 minutes of JAWGUST. Today, we are covering minutes 20 to 24. We pick up right where Brody was talking about getting shark spotters out on the water. By the way, they didn't do a very good job when they actually do get the shark spotters. I don't want to jump ahead, but you got all these deputies all over the water later in the movie, and you got one lady with a Laverne bandana on her head, and she's the only one who saw the goddamn beast. But again, that is much further down the road. That is weeks away, or at least next week. It's not today. Let's just put it that way. So you got Mrs. Taft there with that yellow turtleneck, her head sticking out of that yellow turtleneck. You got her husband next to her. It looks like he could be selling a used car. And you got some Neil Young looking dude next to her, like with his scraggly hair, all worried about them closing the beaches. She has no problem saying it. She has no problem saying anything. You know, Ellen, you're not going to be an islander. You're never going to be an islander. And are you going to close the beaches? And Brody's like, yeah. Everyone freaks out. But only 24 hours. Only 24 hours. But of course, you know, in Amity, everyone say it with me.
24 hours is like 3 weeks.
That always plays well with the Jaws crowd. Yeah, so they're all pissed off at Brody. And what's worse is Mother effing Vaughn comes in. He's like, only 24 hours. Only 24 hours. Like, he right away has to appease to these people because, again, he wants to line his own pockets. You know, looking around the room at the people that make up these locals of Amity, they have to be Martha's Vineyard locals because there's no way a casting agent would ever be able to find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy in Amity. I mean, okay, maybe that's a little harsh, but these are definitely some interesting looking people. You know, I see Carl Gottlieb, everyone knows him. There's some old lady that looks like a dark-haired version of, you know, Where's the Beef? We got a chubby Gabe Kaplan looking fella. We have a guy that almost looks like he could be Paul Williams. There's a tall version, but also he looks like a dentist. It's very strange. I've talked about Mrs. Taft and her husband with his perfect hair. There's one guy in some sort of weird T-shirt. I can't even figure. It says Bill something. I'm sure I saw the T-shirt in another shot. Bill Smith's Clam Bakes, I'm going to say. That's got to be Bill Smith, I'm going to guess. That woman almost looks like my aunt. That's not. That's the saddest mustache I've. Nope, that's not Dick Van Patten. I mean, these people, they look like real. Am I right that there's a woman right there that's missing like 7 of her teeth? I don't know. Let's just put it this way. They did a great job of casting what locals look like because they just opened the door and just like, they probably like pop some popcorn and the people are like, I smell popcorn. I don't know why they have that accent. And they moseyed their way on. And what's going on here? You making a picture? Again, why do they have Southern accents? I don't know. But I almost don't don't want to insult them. I want to compliment how amazing these people look here. I just am angry with them that they don't care about a young boy who's dead. They do care about hopefully bringing more people in, more tourists to be murdered. The only issue I have, now I shouldn't say the only issue, what I think should have happened is a tourist gets eaten. Think about that. We know, as far as, there's only two more victims. We got the guy in the lagoon, in the pond. And then, of course, a man we haven't met yet. One of our heroes. But that guy's probably a local, the way he talks. But imagine if they cover this up. They don't make a big deal about it. The fishermen come in. The tiger shark gets caught. And Vaughn's like, we caught a big predator. And everything's going to be fine. And everyone goes to the beach. And everyone has fun. And let's say those kids weren't, messing around. And we're not in the lagoon. We're on the beach where all the tourists are, in the pond. I keep saying lagoon. It's the pond. And someone gets eaten. Not this guy here, who was working on his suntan. The guy, he's at this table. He's in the car with Vaughn earlier. Not him. But, just someone who in the big city comes into town, wants to spend time with their family, and then boom, they get eaten. Their little son Timmy gets eaten, and then you find out later that a girl was eaten, a young boy was chewed up, tenderized, and swallowed him whole. Imagine the lawsuits that this town would have. The fact that. Now, look, I'm going all over the place today, and I know we should be focusing on one man and one thing, but this just popped in my head, so I have to go there. I don't want to talk about sequels, but the fact that they're building a friggin' hotel in Amity, the fact that it continues and remains to be a summer hotspot, after the fact that 3 people got killed, just out and about, not like trying, okay, Quint, okay, but he was out hunting this thing. A little more dangerous. I mean, he doesn't expect it to jump on the boat and swallow him, but okay. These 3 people are just swimming, going about their day. And you come to this town and you find out that 2 of them happened before you got there. One of them happens while you're out there suntanning, listening to the ball game on the radio. Would you ever go back to that place? Would you ever step foot in that town again? And the fact that the town is thriving in the second movie, and I think it survives it again. We don't, because we do go back to Amity. I hate to talk about this. I'm sorry, this does not deserve this much discussion. But we go back to Amity now. It's Christmas time, but that town still seems to be doing all right. The fact that another Brody would become an officer in that town after all this. Never mind, like the town should have been like, are you out of your mind? Yeah, we know you tried, but this happened twice while you were here. You have to, because they didn't listen to him in the second one either. The sequels really make this movie just so, the sequels make the overall story of the full, if you consider it the complete story, really ridiculous. That's why this movie has to stand alone. This movie is its own thing. This movie is the epitome, is the story of Jaws. One shark comes in, they get rid of him. Now, I think in the real story of Jaws, Brody swims to shore, and then he goes to Mayor Vaughn's house, chokes the life out of him. They make it look like, a suicide or something like that. Boom, he becomes mayor, or Hooper stays and becomes mayor. Maybe Hooper stays and goes after Ellen then. I don't know. Okay, I feel like I've lost my train of thought. The point is this movie is a perfect standalone story, and any continuation, any expansion, just It doesn't lessen this at all. It just shows how awful those sequels are. If you wanted to make another shark movie, another Jaws, you do it with Hooper elsewhere. You do it with, Brody. No, it doesn't make sense. The only one it would make sense with is Hooper, because he works in this field. He studies this field. He loves them. I did not expect to talk about the sequels at all. I did not expect to go on a rant, but nothing about the Brodies and Amity should be part of any of the sequels, except because that's how people think sequels work. Like, oh, it's another shark. So dumb. But if you took someone from this and said they go off and deal with an adventure of another shark someplace else, that is a million times more believable and probably a million times less sellable to the world, unfortunately. Why did I do this? I don't know. Let's get back to these people. Hopefully my superfan's still listening, though. Chris, I'm going to give a 50-50 chance on that one. So, look, I already went on record. I hate these people. I hate these Amity. I think everything bad that happens, that should have happened to them, that didn't happen to them, should have. All these people come into town. Everything's great. And they survive the fact that they put all these people in danger, but none of that should have happened. And every one of these people in these room, I am so angry with. It couldn't have been one person who thought, guys, it's probably a good idea, because in the long run, we need to think about the future and overall safety of everyone, instead of, again, just the almighty dollar. The fact of this movie, the more I think about it, the more of the allegory or the metaphor or the premonition of the world that we had just a few years ago. I'm going to say it again. Yeah, you will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy in all of Amity. But thankfully, much like in stories from a long time ago in a someplace far, far away, there is a hope. It's not a young man with a laser sword, but instead it's an old man, I think eating an apple, who took the time, think about this, took the time while everybody was busy yelling at Brody. This guy snuck into the back of the room, drew a beautiful cartoon shark with a little boy in the mouth, and then said, okay, all right, now's my chance. And then really one of the most incredible character introductions ever. If this was a sitcom, the people would be clapping. This man, you don't know what you're in for with this movie. You have no inkling of this character whatsoever. Right now, it's just small town people and a cop trying to do the right thing, getting pressure from the mayor. Meanwhile, people are dying. And then all of a sudden, this character, not just a character in the movie, but literally the quote unquote term character. I don't remember how he was in the book. It wasn't quite like this. I know I've only read the book twice and it's been a few years, but I remember something different about it. But this embodiment of a heroic, gruff hero, really well said. And the way that he gets introduced to the movie, to the characters, to the world, and he's known, everyone knows who he is, in such a way that he is there to disrupt the movie, disrupt the status quo, disrupt the people of Amity, and really kind of bring them back to reality. So we get the scratching of the chalkboard, and then you get, everyone's like, what is that? What's going on? And then you get the slow pan in of, you see for the first time, the great Robert Shaw. Now, I've said this before. This is quite possibly, probably, definitely the only movie that I've ever seen Robert Shaw in. And I know he's in other movies. I know he's in The Sting. I know he's in The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. The Deep. Those are the ones I can remember. I've seen him in like old pirate movies, like almost like song and dance pirate movies. But this is the only movie that I've ever seen him in. And you see a picture of him, like it's hard to distinguish for me because I don't know him from anything else. You see him here, and I've seen pictures of him, more clean cut, but you see this man and it's like, this is Quint. This is like, it makes him feel even less of like a movie actor and more of like, oh, that's just the man Quint who lives in Amity, who hunts sharks. And he comes in and he gives this long speech, and it's not all one take. It starts off as one take. It starts pushing in. And then that friggin' dude, the guy who's Mr. Taft, I guess, he almost blows it. And I don't know if someone tried to get his attention, but watch this. The scene pushes in, and he turns around, like he turns back, and then he's almost like, oh shit, the camera. And he kind of leans out of the way. I wonder if someone like got his attention while Robert Shaw was going on, out of Robert Shaw's eye line, not to distract him. And the guy actually leans over as the camera pushes in, and I have the whole speech here. It says, y'all know me. Now I earn a living. I'll catch this bird for you, but it ain't going to be easy. And I played this whole thing at the beginning, but I don't care. I want to say it. Bad fish. Not like going down the pond chasing bluegills or tommycocks. This shark, swallow you whole. Little shaking, little tenderizing, and down you go. And he's eating an apple while he does this. And we got to do it quick. That'll bring back your tourists. Put all your businesses on a paying basis. But it's not going to be pleasant. I value my neck a lot more than $3,000, Chief. Now, was he talking to the chief of police or just everyone in general? I'll find him for 3, but I'll catch him and kill him for 10. But you got to make up your minds. If you want to stay alive, then ante up. If you want to play it cheap, be on welfare the whole winter. Then we get like, it's a different shot. It's like it's a little more close up on him. It seems like it was a separate take. Just because it sounds a little different, the sound quality, the visuals a little closer, the cameras, the lens feels a little softer, something's different. Years ago, when I first got our first IBM computer, I figured out how to record audio. I was like, this is amazing. The computer can actually record and play audio, which is weird, thinking where we are right now. And I had these, like it had a 3.5 jack in, like a, microphone jack, like a headphone jack, like for Walkman, for those of you who know what a Walkman is. And I was a nerd who, when we used to make movies with my co-host Chris, I would then take 2 VCRs and I would run different wires between the VCRs and the stereo to get music onto the movies. So I was able to have an output using the VCR wires plugged into the back of a stereo. No, actually, this might have been from the movie, from my brother's VHS, from the VCR to the computer, and then I could record movie clips. And I had different movies. I had one movie to start the computer. I had one movie to end it. And for a while, it was Jules in Pulp Fiction. And I will strike down with you like with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brother. And I that line is indoctrinated in my head because of that clip on my computer that I played over and over and over again. But when I turned my computer off, the next line that Quint says, that was the line that I had all the time, and I played it. I listened to it so many times. And this is like going like almost 30 years ago at this point. I thought it was so cool that you could hear this through the speakers. Remember, like you would have separate speakers, and for your computer, you could turn them up. You had a subwoofer. I mean, this was like a million years ago. And he says, he says that the end of this quote, which is really my favorite part, where he goes, "I don't want no volunteers. I don't want no mates. There's too many captains on this island. $10,000 for me by myself. For that you get the head, the tail, the whole damn thing." And then Mayor Vaughn's like, oh, like you almost feel like someone should have been like, "Oh my God," and like it really had to cover their crotch because they just made a mess of how excited they were. But Vaughn's like, "Well, take that under advisement, Mr. Quint," and that's when you realize Quint is Mr. Quint, but you can't picture him with a first name. Like his first name is Quint, his last name is Quint. He's Quincy Quint, or like he should have like Cornelius or some like long first name, something like that. Cornelius Quint, there it is. And I don't think the book ever says Quint, like gives us anything. Again, I read it 5 years ago was the last time I read it. In the credits, he's just Quint, not Mr. Quint, not Quincy Quint, nothing. But it's at this point where he's very serious. Then he gets up and he's like a cocky guy. He's like, "Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen," and he just kind of gives this little nod and he wanders off. And he brings his little assistant. I forget, this guy, I think he had a little more to do in some deleted scenes, but his little guy just kind of wanders off, and that's the end of that scene. And again, that's only like halfway of the clip of today's episode, but it really is the highlight of the episode. I mean, by the time Quint leaves, where are we? 2 minutes and about 2.5 minutes in, almost 2.5 minutes in. And then we get a sign that, quite honestly, someone on Etsy must have made a sign like this. That would be an amazing thing to have, like hanging up in a pool house or in just a regular house. No swimming, hazardous area, beach clothes, all written. By the way, Polly, you have outdone yourself, because we obviously let Polly do the printing. Everything's well printed perfectly. And then it's written in cursive, "By order, Amity Police." By order, not of Amity Police, by order, Amity Police. Now, I swear Quint said, "By order of Amity Police." So Polly, great printing, grammar, Amity PD. I don't know, that leaves a little bit. And that's the only sign we see. We see one in the background, but I can't like zoom in to see if it's, what the difference is. It looks like pretty much the exact same sign. And we see this guy he's got some real 70s hair right there. But I like his glasses. I'd wear those glasses. I'd wear the hell out of those. And then Hendrix comes in and he's like, "Yeah," he starts hammering that thing down. And again, that's the biggest action we get here. Then we go back to the Brody house, where we see, this is where we spend the remaining minute and 20 seconds of this episode, this clip, where Brody is he's researching sharks. So it shows this drawing of a shark and it says, "Lateral sensory system, the shark's vibration detector." And then I almost read erotic impulses, which would have been why he's got a vibration detector. But it says erratic impulses coming off the shark, smooth rhythmic impulses. And then it shows a fish in distress. So I guess it's saying the shark can figure out a fish is in distress and eat that shark or eat that fish. We see Brody. His house, by the way, that thing has got to be worth millions. Like if you right now you see that house on the water like that, what a gorgeous little spot. Oh my God, I just want to curl up right there and read a book. And you got a beautiful little dog right there, and then you got a beautiful little wife who comes on over with some high-rise looking jeans. She's got her shirt tied again. She's got the Laverne look going too, with the shirt tied, got the little belly going, got the scarf and the hair. My goodness gracious, she scares the shit out of Marvin because almost like he's looking at porn, but no, he's just looking at sharks. And he's just so into looking at the book that he has no idea that she comes up right behind him and scares the hell out of him.
Oh, God. You scared me.
You know, Ellen, people don't even know how old sharks are. I mean, if they live 2,000 to 3,000 years,
Martin.
they don't know.
Enough. You're not going to even be able to go to sleep tonight. Here.
So Brody he's obviously getting obsessed. She gives him a nice drink, a nightcap to just kind of unwind. Stretches out right on his lap, kind of leans back, and then says the magic words.
Want to get drunk and fool around?
Oh, yeah, is right. But of course, I don't think that happens because
Hey, Mikey really loves his present.
I love my present, my additional comment from Amber Brown Dog. So we find out Mikey is, oh God, he is sitting in his new gift, which is a boat.
All right, Michael, out of the boat!
So Michael is tied up to a jetty. See, he just said that. And the boat is, right tied up to the dock.
Get out of that boat!
But Martin he doesn't want him even near the water at all.
I don't want him on the ocean.
It's not on the...
Oh, it got cut off right there where Ellen was yelling, saying, he's not on the ocean, he's in a boat. But that's going to change. That's going to change pretty quickly tomorrow. Most of the day really wasn't that great for old Martin Brody. The townspeople, they don't trust him. They don't like him. They don't agree with what he's trying to do. The mayor is not allowing him to do what he wants to do because he's saying only 24 hours. They're only going to close the beach. They're basically giving Brody 24 hours to find this shark, or the fisherman that Mrs. Kintner is luring into town with her $3,000. And on top of that, you got this kooky fisherman that shows up on his own, for some reason draws a picture of a young boy being eaten. I'm sure that Jeffrey Voorhees would sign that for $50. And he doesn't want $50. He doesn't want $3,000. He wants $10,000. Which there's no way the townsfolk would cough up that kind of money, would they? Certainly not yet. But I think he knows. He kind of knows, like, these people, they don't know what they're dealing with here. I know. I know what it's going to take. And I'll just wait until they're ready to pay up. They're ready to ante up. And as bad as that was, as bad as it is that he has to yell at his son to get out of the boat, the worst thing that happened to him today is that he might not be able to fool around with his wife, because she basically said, I'm ready. You want to get drunk? Now, maybe they do. Maybe that still happens. I don't know. I don't remember if we see a little glimmer in his eye the following day. I don't know. I'd like to hope that it happened, because he deserves a little happiness after a day like this. I had a little happiness today talking Jaws with you. I had a lot of happiness spending time with my nephew. I had a lot of happiness going out with him and my wife. I had a lot of happiness coming home and seeing this awesome quote from Amber Brown Dog and Mike. And I also loved the fact that, finding out who really was behind the curtain when I got a text from Christopher. And yes, as much as I joke about Brody and Ellen, hopefully, doing it. I couldn't think of anything. I was trying to think of something clever, but if I joke about them doing it well, the main focus of this 4 minutes is that incredible introduction to Robert Shaw's Quint. That is, I can't stress enough, that is the focus. That is the highlight. One of the highlights of this movie, one of the highlights of any movie ever, and we get it in these 4 minutes. Just another kind of bit of evidence to why I love doing it this way. Yes, I went off on a tangent I was not expecting with sequels, but I loved that it all comes from thoughts that get kind of rolling around on this noggin of mine, all come from these 4 minutes. So that's kind of, I go off, I get to the other minutes, I try not to, but I really, everything, this is the building block, not the whole movie, just these 4 minutes here. And that's why I really enjoy doing this. And that's why every day there's kind of no lack of something to talk about. I could just talk about the 4 minutes and, that's fine. Or I can just use that to kind of go off in different tangents. And that's fun too. Might be a little weird, might be a little crazy. The fact that I brought up multiple Jaws sequels is almost criminal, but I can't help it. What I need is a good defense, because sometimes I'm feeling like a criminal, but I don't need to be redeemed for the one I've sinned against, because it's all I ever knew of Jaws. I think I got that right. I don't know. I wasn't expecting to do that either, but sometimes that's how this old brain works. So I'm going to go now before I start talking about different lyrics from some other movie. So thank you so much, Chris, for messaging me and letting me know that Amber Brown Dog is Mike. Thank you, Mike, for your comments. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Pass out your phone to all your family and friends. Let them know to comment as well. Did you know if you listen on Spotify, you can comment on every episode of Geek Mentality, every episode of JAWGUST. You can be like Mike. Or if you're on Apple, you can leave a comment or review there as well. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow talking more Jaws, probably again at night, because I have a friggin' eye appointment in the morning. I got to go get my eyes dilated. They're going to tell me, oh, your vision's slightly worse than it was last year. Oh, great. Thank you. So I will be back tomorrow evening. So keep refreshing that Spotify. In the meantime, you can follow me on Blue Sky at Geek Mentality, on Instagram at Geek Mentality, on Threads at Geek Mentality. I'm also on Mastodon. I still have the Twitter, Geek Mentality. I really don't do much of anything there at those places anymore. On Instagram, it's on TikTok, it's Geek Mentality Mike. That's where you can go to watch me do videos like a fool. Because that's like a chump. No Limp Bizkit. That is one of my rules. No Limp Bizkit. I'll be back tomorrow. Facebook page is Fans Not Experts. YouTube channel is Fans Not Experts. That's because the website where every episode of JAWGUST, Golden JAWGUST, and Geek Mentality can be found is fansnotexperts.com. That's it. I'm done. I'll be back tomorrow, but until then, the beaches are closed. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. And here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode. Fans Not Experts.